welcome to Rules Challenge. I'm Carter Maxwell, and in this episode we're going to be taking a look at Teotihuacan, City of Gods. Now if you're new to the show, it's basically just a test of your understanding of the rules of the game to help you figure out if you're ready to lead a play of it. I run through a series of moves in a real game situation, and after each one I'll just stop and ask, is it legal or illegal? And then I'll answer the question and give some explanation. Before we get started, a couple of things I should touch on. One is there is a new edition of the rule book available. I think it came out with the second printing, so make sure you're working from that. It does clarify a few things. More importantly, there's an FAQ available now, and if you look at the BGG rules forums, there's so many questions about the game, and that really addresses a lot of them. So make sure you're using that. And then just something to watch for with the channel. I was playing a game online recently, and a real interesting situation came up at the end that I thought would be cool to turn into kind of a puzzle video. We'll see if it turns out to be cool in practice, but keep your eye out for that. I'll try to link to it in this video. Blue will move the number 2 die from the gold mine to decoration action board and pay 1 cocoa because yellow already has a die there. Then blue will pay 3 gold to take the main action there. Then he'll take the decoration tile with the green dragon and place that on the right side of the pyramid on the first step, matching up both icons. He'll peg those 2 points. Also, he used a green dragon to cover up the dragon icon. Blue will advance 1 space on the green temple track. We'll get those 2 out of the way so he can take a look at the tiles, and he'll dig down and take the tile for 4 victory points. Now, since blue does not currently have a wood to pay for the discovery tile, he'll just hold it for now and not activate it and wait until he has a wood available. Then he'll take the base 3 points for taking the decoration action. Then blue gets to advance 1 step on the pyramid track. Then he powers up his worker from a 2 to a 3 and refills the decoration action board. That move was illegal. The cost of the discovery tile has to be paid at the time you acquire it. So blue couldn't take it into his hand and just pay the cost of 1 wood when he later acquired a wood and activated the tile then. He would have had to pay that cost right up front. So he could have taken a different tile that he could afford at the time, or there's always the pre-printed reward on the board that you can take if you're not able to afford any of the tiles or just don't find any of them appealing options. Now people sometimes ask, well, what about when you acquire it through a temple reward? Isn't it free then? Nope. There is no situation that you'll acquire a discovery tile with a cost and not pay for that cost up front, right at the time you acquire it. Another thing I'll touch on now, just because it came up in this example, is people sometimes wonder if the little icons work the same way for scoring as the other larger icons that are associated with the temples. Yes, even though it's a lot smaller and it's never colored, it still counts as a point when it's covered by a decoration tile or a pyramid tile. Since blue got busted on that last move, he's going to take a different tact here and move his 3 die from the nobles board 3 spaces to the palace. Now, since there are no workers already on the palace, blue does not have to pay a cocoa to take an action there, but he will pay the 1 cocoa to claim the discovery tile there. So he'll pay that and claim the tile. Blue will power up that 3 to a 4 and refill the discovery tile space. There's no main action on the palace board. If you move there, you're either moving there to collect cocoa or you're moving there to move into one of the 3 worship spots on the 3 royal tiles. Also, I should point out that the worship action on the palace board works differently than it does on the other boards where there's a worship action. Let's say instead that blue was taking a worship action over here on the gold mine. He would have three options. He can either just take the blue temple track advance, or he can pay in this case, pay one food and acquire that discovery tile, or he can pay one food up front and then take both actions. So he's got three options. On the palace though, there are only two options. You're either taking just the action on the royal tile you claimed, or you're taking both the royal tile action and paying the cocoa and claiming the discovery tile. There's no option to just take the discovery tile. We're just going to go ahead and move on to yellow's turn. First, yellow is going to activate this discovery tile that will allow him to move one worker an unlimited distance. Yellow will use that power to move the number 3 on the decoration board all the way around the board, past the palace, and into the alchemy board. So for passing the palace, he'll take 1 cocoa. Yellow will spend 1 gold to pay for the number 5 tech, which is the gain 1 good technology, and place his marker there. And since red and blue already had markers there, they each will get 3 victory points. So red will get 3 and blue will get 3. Also, that tech comes with a step on the green temple. So yellow will take 1 step on the green temple and gain 1 food. And last, yellow will power up that worker from a 3 to a 4. That move was illegal, and just because of one simple thing early on in the move. The discovery tile that allows you to move 1 worker an unlimited distance works like a tunnel. When yellow moved around the board and past the palace into the alchemy board, yellow really wasn't passing the palace. I know I misled you a little bit in moving around the board, but that's how everybody does it, and it causes so many questions. So you need to be aware that when that yellow die left the decoration board, it went via a tunnel to the alchemy board, did not pass the palace, and thus did not get the one cocoa that comes from the number 1 technology tile. Now it's black's turn. Black will start by moving this number 2 die from the gold mine 2 spaces over to the construction board. She wants to take a main action, so she'll pay 2 cocoa for the 2 colors that were already there. She wants to do a second level build, which requires 1 wood and 2 stone. She does have technology tile number 15 though, so she'll pay 1 of the stone using that, and then pay the second stone and wood herself. Black will place the tile on the second level, matching up 2 icons here and here. And one of them she's covering with is a blue icon. She'll take 3 points for building on level 2. And she'll take 2 points for matching 2 icons. Matching that blue icon will give her 1 step on the blue temple. She'll take that 1 step and she gets 1 good of her choice as reward, so she'll take that as 1 stone. And to wrap up that build, she will take 1 step on the pyramid track. With 2 workers present and a 3rd virtual worker from the technology tile, she qualifies to do 3 builds. So she definitely wants to do at least 1 more build. And obtaining that stone now puts her at 2 stones, so she would be able to do another build. So she's going to do a level 1 build. She'll pay the 2 stone. And she'll place the tile out on the first level, matching up the 2 icons on this edge. She'll score 1 victory point for the level 1 build, and then 2 more for the 2 matching icons. For that second build, she'll advance 1 space on the pyramid track again. Because the virtual worker put her on the 3rd row, she's eligible to take 2 power-ups, so she'll split those, taking 1 on the 3 and 1 on the 4. And to finish out that action, she refills the construction board. There's an awful lot to discuss here. I wanted to break this up into several examples, but the pyramid builds take so many steps. I didn't want to have you sit through several demonstrations of that just to show a couple different nuances in the rules. The first thing we should talk about is when black gained that stone because of the blue temple advance and use that stone toward the next build, that's fine. You fully resolve building one tile before paying to make your next build. Note that black did pay the full cost of that second build. This technology tile covers the cost of one good for the entire action, not each build you do over the course of the action. A general rule for all the technologies is they will only ever be triggered once per turn. Another thing worth pointing out, pretty small thing, but I have seen questions about it. The orientation of these icons doesn't matter. So even though this dragon's facing that way, this dragon's facing this way, as long as the type of icon matches, that's considered covering. Another thing, keep in mind that the color of the icon you cover doesn't matter. So even though black covered up this green dragon here, she did not get a temple bonus for that. What matters is the colors you're using to cover on the tile you're placing. And by the way, black did use the virtual worker correctly, even though she didn't do a third build, even though she only has 2 physical workers present. The virtual worker does put her on the third line, so that does allow her to take 2 power-ups. In fact, they're mandatory. Now it's Red's turn. Red's going to move her number 3 die from the construction board to the quarry. Red wants to take the main action, and there were 2 colors already there, so that'll cost 2 cocoa. And fortunately, she has just enough to pay for it. Red currently has 4 workers there, and she knows you can never use more than 3 toward a main action, so she's going to leave out that 1 and just use the 3, 4, and 4 there. That puts her on the 3rd row and the 2nd column for 3 points and 3 stone. So she'll take 3 stone and peg the 3 points. Red has a couple different technologies that apply here. One is the number 5 technology for an extra good on the 2, 3, and 4 boards, and the other is the number 7 technology for an extra cocoa and a victory point on those same boards. So she'll take 1 stone because she took the action on the quarry, and she'll take 1 cocoa for this one and 1 more victory point. To wrap things up, she'll take 2 power-ups and apply them to the number 1 die here to make it a 3. I'll start off by pointing out what wasn't illegal is applying the power-ups to this die. Even though it wasn't involved in the action, it was an unlocked worker. It doesn't have to be involved in the action to receive the power-ups. The problem was in Red trying to exclude this worker, which was a 1 at the start of the action. When you have 4 or more workers present, you resolve the actions the exact same as when there are 3 workers present. You use the lowest value die of all the dice present. So really this should have been from the 1 column, 3rd row, so Red would have received 1 victory point and 2 stone. Red needs to redo her turn, so she's going to take a different approach to the same action. Again, moving the number 3 die from the construction board 2 spaces over to the quarry. Again, she'll pay 2 cocoa for the main action because there's 2 colors already there. And this time she'll correctly apply the 3rd row, 1st column for 1 victory point and 2 stone. There's the 2 stone. There's the victory point. She'll apply technology tile number 7 for an extra victory point and 1 cocoa. And she'll gain 1 stone from technology tile number 5. Last, she needs to apply the 2 power-ups. So instead of applying it to the 1 this time, she's going to apply it to one of the 4s, turning that into a 6. That'll cause that worker to ascend. She'll turn that 6 to the 1 side and place it on the palace. She has technology tile number 1, which gives you 1 cocoa when you land on or pass the palace, so she'll take 1 cocoa for that. She gets to take a reward from the Ascension wheel, so she'll take the one that allows her to take 1 step on any temple for no cost. She'll take that advance on the blue temple, which will give her 1 good of her choice, and she'll make that 1 gold. As part of Ascension, she also has to take a step up on the Avenue of the Dead, so she'll go up here, and she gets to claim a discovery tile from that stack. She'll go with the one right on top, which is 4 cocoa for a cost of 1 gold. She'll go ahead and spend that gold she just gained to acquire that tile. Final step of the Ascension process, she advances the light disc 1 space. There were 2 things in this turn that were illegal, and both of them were pretty easy to miss since there was a lot going on this turn. The first one was taking 1 cocoa from technology tile number 1 from being placed on the palace after the Ascension. That technology is for workers who land there or pass there as part of normal movement. It does not apply when a worker is being placed there after ascending. As far as I can tell, that's one of the most commonly asked questions in the game, and it does come up in the FAQ if you look that up online. The second mistake was the order in which Red resolved the Ascension. The very first thing that has to happen is you take that step on the Avenue of the Dead. The second thing is you turn the worker into a 1 and place it on the palace. The third thing is you get to claim a reward on the Ascension wheel, and then you advance the light disc. By taking those steps out of order, Red was able to gain a gold from the blue temple that she then used to pay for that discovery tile of 4 cocoa on the Avenue of the Dead, which she otherwise wouldn't have been able to pay for if she had done these steps in the proper order. Alright, Red's going to try again. This time she's going to keep it simple. Just move the number 1 die from the quarry to the forest. She wants to take a main action there. There weren't any other colors there when she arrived, so it won't cost any cocoa. Since she just has 1 die there, and it's a number 1, that puts her in the first row, first column. She'll get 1 cocoa. 2 of her technology tiles apply here, the number 5 and the number 7. So for the number 5, she'll get 1 extra wood. And for the number 7, she'll get 1 cocoa and 1 victory point. And last, she'll take the 1 power up she gained to turn that from a 1 to a 2. People sometimes think that's a misapplication of technology tile number 5, but Red did it correctly. Even though she had only managed to produce 1 cocoa there, the good associated with that board is wood, so that's what's produced by technology tile number 5 when that's activated. The only other place that's relevant is on the quarry board, where sometimes people will take an action here and only receive a victory point and not produce a stone. But if they've got technology tile number 5, that will generate a stone for them. One other interesting thing about this technology tile is don't misinterpret those forward slashes as meaning you, when you're activating this tile, that you can take wood or stone or gold. It's strictly determined by the board you're on. If you're on the forest, it generates a wood, quarry, a stone, gold mine, gold. You don't get to just take your pick, regardless of what board you're on. Okay, we're back to the top of the turn order. So that means it's blue again. Blue will move the number 5 from the gold mine to the decoration board. And because there's 1 color there, so right now, pay 1 cocoa to take the main action there. He currently only has the 1 unlocked worker there, so does not get a discount for the decoration tile, so pays 3 gold. Blue will place the tile with the blue icon, and that'll match both icons on this first step here, including matching the colored icon. Blue will take 2 points for matching 2 icons. And blue will take the temple reward for matching that blue icon, moving up 1 step on the blue temple, and will claim 1 wood as the reward. Blue will score the 3 points for the decoration action. Now blue needs to apply 1 power up. He could have this worker ascend, but he wants to take advantage of that 5 for other things, so he's instead going to apply it to this 2 and make that a 3. And last, just to finish up the turn, we'll refill the decoration tiles. That move was illegal. The error was in the way the power-up was applied. You cannot apply a power-up to a locked worker. It must be applied to an unlocked worker and on the board where the action occurred. And by the way, keep in mind that power-ups are always mandatory. It's not something that you may do, it's something that you must do. So blue couldn't have just chosen to forego a power-up in order to keep that 5. I have seen some confusion when people have to take 2 power-ups. For example, on the construction board, where if you have 3 or more workers there, you have to take 2 power-ups. The rulebook mentions that you may take that on 2 different workers, and some people have interpreted that may as suggesting that it's something you can choose to do or not to do. But the may is strictly referring to the option to either apply the power-ups to both to 1 worker or to split them and apply 1 each to 2 different workers. It's not saying that you may forego the power-ups entirely. Alright, blue has to redo his turn, so he's going to try something a little different. He's going to bump his worker out of the worship spot and pay 1 cocoa in order to do that. Blue will pay 1 extra cocoa in order to take both actions. He'll take the blue discovery tile and just hold that for now. And then on the other side of the worship action, he gets to take 1 step on the temple of his choice. So he'll take that on the red temple and gain 1 point. And then to finish off the action, blue refills that discovery tile space. You're not allowed to bump your own worker out of a worship spot. Here's how it was initially at the start of the action. So blue came in, tried to pay just 1 cocoa to kick his own worker out and take over that position. If it had been the yellow die in there, yes, that would have made sense. The only way to get that 2 out of there, though, would be to take the additional action where you can pay 3 cocoa on your own turn to unlock all your locked workers. We're going to skip forward to the first eclipse, and everything's been resolved up to the point where the players are paying their workers' salaries, and now it's black's turn to do so. Now normally, of course, these dice stay on the board, but I've just moved them here to better show you what's going on. So black has dice with value 2, 3, and 5, which means she owes 1, 2, 3, 4 cocoa. She only has 2 cocoa left, so instead of taking any penalties, she's going to use her discovery tile that can be used to ignore paying cocoa for any 1 transaction. Activate that to cover all 3 workers. Now the rulebook is quite specific in saying it can be used to ignore paying cocoa for 1 transaction, and includes in the list of options payment for salary during eclipse. Now it says salary singular, not salaries plural. It's quite clear from the FAQ though that paying all of your workers' salaries is considered a single transaction. So this tile can be used to pay for all of them in a single eclipse phase. One other thing I should touch on, let's say that black did not have this tile available and had to use cocoa to pay her workers. So that means she would have been 2 cocoa short. She could have paid this worker, and the 5 would have been short 2 cocoa. Now often people will think that's a single penalty. Oh, I couldn't pay one of my workers, so I'll take minus 3 points. But the penalty is per cocoa you can't pay, not per worker you didn't pay. So since this is 2 cocoa short, the penalty is 6 points. Okay, that wraps up this episode. Before I go, I should mention that I had said in a previous episode that one of my next videos was going to be on the game Barrage. I haven't managed to get in the plays of that yet, so I'm putting it off a little bit longer. My next video is actually going to be Hansa Teutonica Big Box. That's the base game plus a couple expansions. That's one of my all-time favorite games, so I'm looking forward to doing that one. And then I'm also going to be doing Grand Austria Hotel after that. So if you're interested in either of those, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.